Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time. It's your friend Dom C of Project Prospect here with another video. And today I'm going to be starting a series that you're going to probably see a lot of between now and April. And very simply, I'm calling it the 7 round mock draft series. What I'm going to do is try to take all 32 teams and go ahead and execute a full 7 round mock draft based on what I would do for each and every team. But before we get into the draft, let me take care of some housekeeping. If you haven't subscribed to the Project Prospect channel with Dom C, I'd really love if you did so. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, do all that stuff that really makes my content jump up the rungs in the YouTube algorithm so I can get the content out to the masses. That's what it's about, right? Helping one another out. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I love putting out content. I want it to get out to more people. So anything you could do to help is much appreciated. And if you care to, feel free to get in my comments. Tell me what you like, tell me what you didn't like, and I'm sure I'll respond, and I'm sure I'll tell you why you're wrong and why I'm right. But I'm just kidding. So obviously, the easiest thing for me to do is start with my own team, the New York Jets. And before I do that, I wanted to entertain kind of a different scenario. I know a lot of people are piping hot to try to reacquire that 2nd round draft pick that we lost in the Aaron Rodgers trade. So I'm going to try something different. Let me pop it up on the screen here and show you. I'm going to go ahead and trade back from 10. And I'm also going to throw in 187, which is my 6th round pick. And I'm going to trade back with Cincinnati, and I'm going to, in turn, acquire pick 18, pick 49, and 151, which is their 5th round pick. And that's almost dead even in the trade value chart. That's why I went ahead and did that. So I'm going to force that trade through. And I'm also going to trade again just to get it out of the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to turn these last 2 picks that we got late in the 7th round, the comp picks, and I'm going to go ahead and trade them up for another 6th round pick. I'm just picking Arizona. I'm going to force this trade as well. So I don't want to have 10 draft picks. I don't think that's realistic. So I'm just trying to shorten this up a little bit. So I'm going to force that trade again. So again, the concept here is I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I would do and how I would attack each one of these 32 NFL teams starting today with the Jets. So Jets fans, you know what our needs are. Some of you want to take offensive line straight through from through rounds 1 through 7. Some of you want to alternate a couple wide receivers in there. I personally think that there's a couple different areas of need, and I'm probably going to address some of them during this draft. So let's go ahead and get it started. And we're picking at 18. And off the board, who did they? Yeah, Cincinnati traded up to get Olufshanu, which makes sense. They have a tackle need as well, but that's okay because for me, I have Joe Alt as my number 1 tackle in the class, and then then there's a little gap, and then that second tier of tackles, I got 3 guys all relatively around the same. Olufshanu from Penn State being one, Talisi Fuunga from Oregon State being another. And then the guy I'm going to pick here, which is J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham somehow gets a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of undue hate towards him. Now, I know he's a bigger guy. I know that he's pushing 340, 350 pounds. So automatically they say big tackle. They correlate that with Mekhi Becton. But, man, these guys couldn't, they're not the same player. And just because they're both big, he's not going to repeat the same, have the same unlucky injury history, God willing, that Mekhi Becton had. J.C. Latham, in my opinion, is by far the most powerful and the best run blocking tackle in the class. Yes, I said in the class. that even includes better than Talisa Fuaga. He's great on double teams. He's great on solo down blocks. He just physically moves people out of the way. He plays with ferocity. He uses advanced hand fighting in his pass sets. He's long and he gets to his mark in his pass sets really good. Whether it's at an angle or vertically, he's not a problem. Again, not a perfect prospect. Definitely has to clean up some of the penalties, some of the false starts and stuff like that. But I think that's just him being ultra amped up and the anticipation. And some of those things can get worked out with repetitions and kind of playing within himself a little bit more. I think a lot of people on JC Latham do a little bit too much single game scouting, or even in his case, single rep scouting. They know that the last play that JC Latham played in college, he got blown up on the defensive line. That's, that happens. You're not going to win every rep. But the body of work of JC Latham, especially through the 2023 season, especially those last 6 to 7 games of the regular season leading up in the playoffs, I mean, he was just a dominant force. So to me, there's not much fall off between those three guys. So JC Latham's easily going to be my pick here. He's my tackle 3 on the board, and I'm happy to pop him in on the right side for the New York Jets. And this leads us up to the second round pick, right? The second round pick that everyone was pining for that we get back. And man, there's a couple different ways I can go here. I think you can easily take another offensive lineman. You can take an interior guy. If you want to plug one of those guard spots, what's happening with Laken Tomlinson? Is he coming back? Is he going to be a cap casualty? What's happening on the right side of the right guard? Do you move Tippmann over and take a center? Do you use this pick here to address the offensive line? The offensive skill position spot and take, a wide receiver. I think a sneaky need that no one's talking about enough is the defensive line for the Jets. I know everyone hated the Will McDonald pick last year, but I'm thinking more on the interior. Okay, we got Quinnen Williams, right? Solly Thomas is a unrestricted free agent. Quentin Jefferson is an unrestricted free agent. Al Harris is damn near 50 years old, coming off of a major injury, so we don't even know if he's going to play next season. Those are 3 guys that soaked up interior reps throughout the season. Now, yes, there are situations when JFM or Michael Clemens even moved inside and played alongside of Quinnen Williams, but neither of those guys really fit the mold of that one tech run stuffing defensive tackle. Both of those guys can be used for interior pressure and pass situations, but there's that one trait that big body, 2 gap in, take up space and hold the line and block take out the running game guy that we're missing. So I'm going to go ahead and address that here in the second round. And I'm going to do it with a guy who really doesn't fit the mold of the defensive tackles that Joe Douglas has drafted of recent years, or really, honed in on of recent years, with the exception of Al Harris, and that's T'Vondre Sweat from University of Texas. Again, another big body guy, pushing 340, 350 pounds, just pure, compact, quick, powerful off of that line. Again, I think somebody who can come in from day one, play at worst, play early downs, right next to Quinnen Williams, and really be a force on that run defense. Really free up the linebackers, Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley, to move and do what they please and handle his business. Now, for a guy that big and that powerful, he does and offers a pretty good nimble feet and pretty good array of pass rush moves. I mean, they're not overdeveloped, but he can press the pocket and he can get some pressures when asked to. Again, I don't know if T'Vondre Sweat's coming in and being a 3-down player right from the get-go, especially in the Jets rotation, but he's exactly what the doctor ordered when we talk about that prototypical one tech run stuff and defensive tackle that the Jets sorely need. I think the value is good here at 49, maybe even a little rich, some might say, but I'm not going to let it pass. I'm going to take T'Vondre Sweat, and that brings me up to pick number 72 in the third round. And here's where I'm going to look at the interior of the offensive line. Here's where I'm going to look at the wide receivers and see what we got cooking. And yeah, I'm not going to hesitate again here. To me, this is a no-brainer. I run this card up to the podium, and I'm going to go ahead and take Cooper Beebe at a Kansas State. He's a guy who's versatile. He's played all along the offensive line. He's big. He's strong. Again, another dominant run blocker, but a guy who is long enough and can, you know, handle himself and is very efficient with his hand fighting and his punch. To hold his own in the pass set. I think you can plug Cooper Beebe in either at left guard or right guard right away. He's also a guy that in a pinch, if you need him to play a rep or two or a game or two at tackle, he can handle that as well. To me, this would be an absolute killer of a start of a draft. And I'm going to go ahead and take Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State and fill in another spot and fortify those trenches on the offensive line. So now we got two back-to-back picks here at 111 and 113. And there's two areas that obviously we need to look at the wide receiver position. That's what I'm going to do here. And to me, there's two guys here that I really, really like, and they're complementary to one another. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can snag both of them here at 111 and 113. And that the first guy is Malik Washington. Malik Washington is a smaller wide receiver, somebody that the Jets already have known interest in. They talked to him extensively while he was at the Shrine Bowl. Again, smaller guy, only 5'8", maybe pushing 190 pounds, but man, he runs some of the tightest routes that you see, very quick in and out of his breaks. He can, he forces separation. He can get you yards after the catch. He's a guy that you want to get the ball in his hands right from the get-go and see what he can do. Only had a drop rate in 2023 of 2.6, so he catches the balls that he can. He can really beat you at all three levels. Again, smaller guy, you worry about if he's going to be able to, if bigger defensive backs are going to be able to push him off his routes. But nonetheless, a guy that I think can play in this league. So I'm going to go ahead and take Malik Washington here at 111. And then for the next pick, I'm going to go ahead and take No, I'm not. You know what? I'm going to change that thought, guys. I'm going to address the defensive backs. Okay. I know no one thinks we need a defensive back right now. That's the strongest unit on the team. But keep in mind, all right, DJ Reed is in his contract year. Yes, we hope we extend him or restructure him to keep him here for a little bit longer. Just turned 27 years old. 7th ranked cornerback in PFF last season. I'm not saying that I want to move on from DJ Reed, but he is in his last year of his deal. Michael Carter II in his last year of his deal. All right. Brandon Eccles in the last year of his deal. All right. Bryce Hall. He's an unrestricted free agent. The depth isn't there. So that I'm going to go ahead and take Cam Hart here out of Notre Dame. Again, long-armed, physical cornerback, adept in both press, off-man, and zone coverage. Again, physical guy, punches through the hands, very technical, not afraid to get his nose in there. And the guy that I think flew under the radar amongst the defensive backs that were at Mobile for the Senior Bowl. I know that Quinyon Mitchell and Jason Brownlee Jr. got a lot of the hype, but I thought Cam Hart played really, really well in from practice to practice. Those wide receiver DB drills are really geared or really meant for the wide receivers to have the advantage, right? They can have a two-way break whichever they go. So you're going to see reps that the defensive backs lose more than not, all right? But even the losses that Cam Hart had weren't bad. Again, I thought he impressed me. They didn't throw at him when he was last year in Notre Dame. He kind of sat on an island in South Bend. So that should tell you something about the respect that he earned at that level. And I think that's going to develop into a really, really good pro. He's a guy that I kind of foresee or project him to be even a better pro than he was in college. Again, Cam Hart's a wonderful player, and I think he'd be a steal here for the Jets in the 4th round. And that brings me up to the 5th rounder that I got, the last pick I got in the Cincinnati trade. And I've addressed already 2 offensive linemen. I addressed 1 wide receiver. I addressed the defensive backfield. So let me just see what's here on the wide receiver. Yeah. I like Luke McCaffrey. I think this might be a little bit too rich for him, to be honest with you. But he's a guy that again, another Senior Bowl winner. I thought really impressed. Was able to wiggle free and showed solid hands. Showed the ability to go up and get the ball and body awareness. Spatial awareness where he was. Understood when he was on the out of bounds line and at the back of the end zone, so on and so forth. But I want to see who's here in the safety room before I do anything, because I think that's another area of need that we don't talk about. No, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to go ahead and take Luke McCaffrey. Again, converted quarterback to wide receiver this year. Really good hands, really good body control, all that stuff I said before. Again, this is the area where you want to just bank on the traits. And everything that I saw in Luke McCaffrey tells me that he's got a chance to really have a role at the next level. He can help you on specials. He can return punts and kicks. He can be a depth wide receiver with somebody who's got the mindset and the skill set and the bloodlines, obviously, to really develop into a player down the road. So I've now doubled up on the wide receiver spot, and I think that the Jets are pretty good at wide receiver. Luke McCaffrey is going to be the pick here at 151. And now we're going to have 2 last picks here in the 6th round, 6th, 7th round, whatever they are, 225 and 229. And here's where I'm going to address the quarterback position. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that the Jets in the front office learn from their mistakes from last year and definitely bring in a true grizzled veteran quarterback that can come in and play. God forbid Aaron Rodgers has to miss any time again in 2024. That was a big fatal flaw in our front office last year by not really preparing for that. And I think they're going to learn from that mistake. So I think early you're going to see one of these bigger name backup quarterbacks be brought in, but you still need a guy in the wings. You still need a guy to develop. And for me, that's going to be Carter Bradley. Again, another Senior Bowl player who definitely impressed. Why did he impress me? Because I didn't really know much about Carter Bradley. Full disclosure, I didn't watch any tape on him before we went down to Senior Bowl. So I was a completely blank slate. And I was quite impressed. He shows an NFL arm. I think he throws with anticipation. He's got enough movement skills to understand and throw off platform or get off platform, and it doesn't hinder him too much. Again, another guy with bloodlines. His dad's Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, and a perfect guy to kind of sit and become a sponge under Aaron Rodgers and whatever other veteran quarterback you're going to bring in here. To me, I don't know if I'm looking at quarterback earlier than this area, but Carter Bradley is a perfect pick. And for the last pick, I'm going to address the safety room. Yeah, I'm going to address the safety room. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't know if this guy is going to be here by the time the Jets pick. But Keaton Oladipo from Oregon State, man, let me tell you, if you watch him on film, he's a physical presence at 6'2", almost 220 pounds. Good size, good length. He packs a lot of power and when he hits. A very strong tackler. A missed tackle rate last year under 10%, which is not bad. And he always does a good job with his awareness on the field. Like, he can open up his hips and run when he has to. He does a good job working downfield, keeping his eyes on the ball carrier, keeping his eyes on the quarterback. He doesn't get fooled a lot on play action or on double moves and so on and so forth. Again, more of a box safety than a guy that you're going to want single high, but I think he's got enough athleticism that he can play split safety and he can flip flop around. For me, this is a guy that I would run to the table with. Again, another guy I think that can offer right from the get-go. He can be a rotational piece in the safety room and as well as offer something on special teams. So Keaton Oladipo from Oregon State is going to be the pick. And that's going to wrap up the draft for me. So I'm just going to recap this for you real quick. as it goes on. You're going to see a couple of the trades that I made in there. And it started out with J.C. Latham, the right tackle from Alabama, coming to the Jets at number 18. We then went to the defensive side of the ball. Again, a sneaky need that no one really wants to talk about on the interior of the defensive line. And I filled it with T'Vondre Sweat, one of the best there is. I followed that up with the guard Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State, a guy who has offensive line versatility, strong, big, the whole package. Followed it up with Malik Washington, a name that you guys are going to need to remember, and a name I think and somebody who's going to make a name for himself in the league. Undersized, quick as a whip, and as sure-handed and smooth a route runner as you're going to find in this class. He's our 4th-round pick at 111. I then followed up with Cam Hart at 113. Some cornerback depth to start with, an opportunity to earn more playing time depending on what happens after the 2025 or 2024 season. We then followed up. We doubled up at the wide receiver position. Took Luke McCaffrey, a little bit of a project, a guy that can come in and help on special teams in the return game right a while. Good, solid, heady, smart football player. And our last 2 picks were our developmental quarterback in Carter Bradley out of South Alabama, and Keaton Oladipo, who I think is more than just a rotational guy. He's a guy that can press for time right from the get-go. Again, I don't know if he's going to be there in reality in round 7, but if he was, just like he was today, I'm going to run up to the table and grab him as quick as could be. Listen, that's my Jets draft. That's this scenario. If we trade back, what could happen? I really liked what we did. There are a lot of players that I absolutely loved. I don't care what the simulator score gave me. I know that I took good guys. What do you think? Get in the comments. Tell me what you would have done differently, which areas you would have addressed, and which ones you thought were wasted. And let's have some good, friendly conversation about it. That's the first one. Plenty of these more to go. Again, I'm Dom C, Project Prospect. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notification. Until next time, peace.